the travel never got better. The only thing is the travel accommodations got better. It
Uh-huh.
started out as on a school bus, ended up on a plane or at least a nice sleeper bus. The traveling still sucked, but like I say, the accommodations and how we got there got a little bit better than.
Welcome to the Banter. I'm Dave. That's Hobbsy. Sponsored by Berserk Athletics for all your team custom uniform needs. We want to welcome to the show a good friend of ours, Todd Canuck Newton. Welcome,
What's
my
up?
friend. How
What's
you
up,
been?
fellas? Oh, not as good as you guys are looking. How you guys doing?
Hey, we're trying to stay looking good. Try to stay
Oh,
looking good.
God, if I only looked as half as good as you guys, man, my life would be made.
Like I'm on
Hey,
burger
you
from
know
Burger
how it
King.
goes sometimes. You know how it goes. So, what have you been up to, my guy? What has life been? How's life been treating you?
I've been life on the road, taking my two little booger eaters cross country to play some hockey, and
Yeah.
that seems to be all I do nowadays.
Well, it is interesting because I know a
Do
lot of
you know what
people out
hockey
there.
is, Dave?
That's what I was getting ready to get into.
It's like
Um,
soccer with sticks.
got it,
Yes.
got it,
Yes.
got it. So it's just got you play it on dirt or ice or what do you do?
We try to play it on ice, but
Try to play it
sometimes,
on ice.
yeah, we
That
try.
works.
Yeah.
That works. Well, speaking of hockey, God, man, I didn't realize till I kind of had to Google you, and God forbid, I was afraid what was going to pop up.
Oh,
But I see that you had a pretty good pro career starting out at the age of 15. Did I read that correctly?
no, that's some junior hockey stats on there.
Junior hockey stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So turned pro at 20.
Turned pro at 20.
Yep.
And
Yep.
how long did you play?
4 years professionally and gave it up, and I had enough of it. And honestly, after that, I think I played some adult league stuff for a year or two. And if it wasn't for my kids about 6, 7 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I went probably a good 16, 17 years without ever touching my hockey stuff again.
Well,
So
so the kids will do that to you.
kids will do it to
It'll,
you. Yeah.
it'll make you put down stuff and
Yep.
never look back again.
Oh,
So
I
what
dreaded the
what
day.
what was life like on the road as a hockey player?
It's funny. I started traveling I played travel hockey as a kid, all grown up, kind of
Uh-huh.
like what my kids are doing now. But the real trip started when I was 15 years old. And, the travel never got better. The only thing is the travel accommodations got better. It
Uh-huh.
started out as on a school bus, ended up on a plane or at least a nice sleeper bus. The traveling still sucked, but like I say, the accommodations and how we got there got a little bit better. That every level up we went. So that was about the only difference. But I mean, I wish I could say I missed it, but I enjoy the windshield time now with the two booger eaters traveling across God's green earth to watch them, skate on the frozen ponds. So
Now
fun.
what is that? And honestly, can you put that into words of what that's like to be able to watch them grow in the sport?
It's it's unique. I love it. My oldest Breck, he's kind of following with me and playing defense, and he likes to get out there and mix it up a little bit when he shouldn't. It's not allowed at that age. I don't know where he got that from,
Love it.
Uh, but then my youngest one, Case, he's going a different route, and he is a goalie, and I
Nice.
cannot relate to them. So uh, usually the goalie's the weirdest kid on the team and the most problems. So my youngest fits right into this. I mean, he is
Okay.
born and bred to be a goalie. I mean, he is the definition of a booger eater. But I'll tell you what, I love them both to death, and I'll give my right arm to make sure that they get everything and travel across and the country playing and have fun doing it and making memories.
So how far so far have they traveled?
Oh, last year was a little worse. Last year, we were always in Minnesota. We're in Fargo. Uh, God, trying to think here. We're always in Des Moines, Omaha, St. Louis. Breck was in St. Louis this last weekend. I mean, just for reference, Case, this is what, 4 weeks into the month now, into January. Just since the calendar year, we've been Lake of the Ozarks, Lincoln, Nebraska, Mason City, Iowa, which is on the Minnesota border, and St. Louis. But finally, this weekend we play at home for the whopping second time this season. But actually, what's really special is my parents have actually never seen my kids play live, and they're flying in this weekend to see it.
Oh yeah, there we go. That's awesome.
So Mama Canuck's making the trek from the Great White North down to the Super Bowl champion cities and getting to watch some hockey. So
awesome.
Looking forward to that.
Have you got anything?
Well, you could probably explain this better than anybody. Explain it. From your background and as much as you've traveled for softball and for working in the ball bat industry and all that, explain the mental mindset you'd have to travel as much as you do for the boys in hockey. Like the average guy, the average parent would probably not be able to travel as well as you do. Would you think?
What's funny is I can actually I remember this story. When I first retired from hockey, my first job out of the gate, for 10 years, I worked for Corona, Guinness, Sam Adams, and stuff like that as a rep with those guys. And I'll never forget, I lived in Wichita at the time, and every once in a while, we'd have to drive from Wichita to Kansas City. And I'm like, are we going to spend the night? And they're like, no, we're coming back that day. And I'm like, really? We're going to drive 2.5 hours, go up there, and we're going to have to drive back that day? Fast forward, because I didn't do the driving. I mean, I was always on a bus or a plane or whatever, I got to lay down and sleep and do whatever. Fast forward, after that job, I went, like Hobbs said, worked in the baseball hockey industry, where I went from having to go to Wichita, once every 6 months for a meeting, to I covered 9 states. And, when I covered 9 states, the windshield time, I could drive to Wichita or St. Louis or Des Moines for dinner and come back. And I wouldn't even bat an eye at it. It doesn't even bug me.
Man.
Heck, I drove from Kansas City to Seattle and back in 2.5 days. I mean, once I got used to it, I mean, it's nothing now. It's more of a pain in the ass to get in the car and go to McDonald's, which is a block away, and drive 4 hours somewhere.
Every time I see you traveling, I'm like, nobody is more equipped to be able to do this, because I would be fucking losing my mind. About 10 minutes, I'm like, all right, I can't do it no more. I got to fucking go home.
Like I said, but once you get used to it, it's actually become pretty easy. I mean, it was actually kind of nice. My girlfriend and I got off the phone right before we did this. And next weekend, not this weekend coming up, but next weekend is our first weekend that we actually have no hockey or anything like that.
Well,
shit. I didn't say that. We have one. Yeah. It's 8 in the morning, but by 9 in the morning on Saturday, I got nothing. I'm like, I feel like Ricky Bobby giving a thing. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Those weekends are, few and far between now.
Now I know with Breck, he, of course, he's probably, the older of the two. With all the traveling you've done and how, stay mentally focused and prepared, what kind of guidelines do you set for him to show that, hey, this is a trip for sports, not just a vacation?
To be honest with you, I never even ever once have had to have that talk with Breck. I know they always say kids are, siblings are different. I mean, my kids are the poster child of that. Breck is awesome. He is great. I mean, he knows he's there for hockey. When all of us parents are sitting in the hotel lobby, there's that, it's like a spiked water stuff that we all drink, sitting around. I don't know the name of it, but he gets up and he'll come downstairs and he'll like, hey Dad, I got to play in the morning. I'm going to bed. And, and he does it on his own. Next year, Case will start traveling. He's gotten to do a couple events here and there. He's at that age though, where time catches up to him and he'll have fun, but he just passes out on his own. I mean, he's still young. So, But next year when we start traveling for Case more than 3 times a year, I think he might get that the talking of, hey, you don't need that, bag of jelly beans or gummy bears or pound of sugar or whatever. It's 10:30 at night. Time to hit the hay, bud. So
Man, I tell you what, I applaud you for what you're doing for your boys.
thanks.
I,
It's just being a
brother,
dad, man. It's just being a dad.
hey, we understand that, and but there's a lot of dads out there that won't do anything like that for their kids. So
but there's
we
a lot
always like we always like to give our due to men that step up and really embrace the role as a father, man. And you do that stuff, man. And like you said, Hobbsy and I, we speak highly of you and how you handle that, watching what you've done with your boys. But how's it going to be? How are you going to balance both of them hitting the road at the same time?
So funny story you say that. I appreciate the kind words. I really do. And, we both have our own little messages we send back and forth to each other every year. Dave always gets a happy birthday on a certain day. But I will tell you, Hobbs always, always, always sends me a Father's Day deal every year on Facebook, which means the world to me. I mean, I know it's just something minor, but he's always got good words to say. But there's another role model in my kid's life, and it's my girlfriend who I've been with now for almost 4 years, who I know you're saying all these nice things to me, but she doesn't, these aren't her kids, and she gladly takes them on a weekend. If one has to go one way, one has to go the other. She's all about it. I mean, heck, all the crap she does with Special Olympics too. I mean, she's a saint. I'm glad to have her in my life. I mean, hopefully when I die, she lets me come over up in heaven every once in a while, because I'll have acreage somewhere else, and I don't think she'll want to come visit me down there. But I gotta keep the good ones close. But she's been absolutely phenomenal in helping, and I mean, even on a Wednesday night, I mean, my schedule, for example, on a Wednesday, pick the kids up from school, right to baseball, drop one off at baseball, run the other one over to hockey practice, run back, pick the other one up from baseball to get over to hockey practice, or I get on the ice with him too for there. But then every once in a while, there's another another place mixed in, and she'll step in and she'll get off work and she'll come down and she'll pick him up and she'll take him to hockey. Well, I got the other one at hockey, and it's been a godsend. She treats them like they're their own, and actually they treat her like they're hers. And and also, my ex does, as well. She comes and takes them on weekends that she needs to, and gets them to tournaments as well.
Well, man, speaking of your girlfriend, man, and I know because we follow each other on social media and everything. I just saw that she was out on my side of the state line,
So
doing something for the polar plunge, which is absolutely amazing.
So it's not what she does. He actually, or was for it. She does it. That is her event.
Oh, she does.
She runs it from start to finish. That's all her.
Nice.
She's done that. She was actually honored this year, and she got to go to Germany and Greece and be one of, I think it was 76. Don't shoot me, Amanda, if I got it wrong. Law enforcement. I don't know how to explain it. Law enforcement guests that were there, torch lighting in Greece and the opening ceremonies and all that stuff in Germany, and to be one of less than 100 in the entire world. That's not in the United States or in Missouri or Kansas. That's in the entire world. To be acknowledged and recognized for what she's done for 20 plus years. She's done a lot.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Kudos to her, but I kind of want to just go back a few words when you said law enforcement.
Yep.
Now I totally understand how you stay on track nowadays.
Hey,
I'm sure she keeps you in line because of that.
You know what? When you Googled me earlier, not one photo popped up that I was doing this or any of that sort. So, maybe those are just all rumors. Maybe I've always been a good boy and just bad things have followed behind me. But no, it's She does keep
stories are
them.
stories, man.
Hey, I can neither confirm or deny any of them.
Hey,
So.
just think if 10 years ago, if you had as much access to social media, we'd all be in trouble some way.
Oh God. Yes. Let's just say I would not be running for president or prime minister in any sort of way. No.
I would be joining you there.
So, I know you say the boys play hockey, and
Mhm.
I mean, I've ran into you myself out at the baseball fields. How are they enjoying baseball?
They love it. If I could be 100% frank, I'm not one of those parents that's going to sit there and say, my kid's the best at this, my son should be this, my kid's that. Like, I'll tell my kid when they suck, I'll tell my kid when they do good, and I'll tell them when they make a mistake, but I'll praise them when they do something awesome. And both of my kids' passion is hockey. They love hockey. They live for it. All their clothing they wear is hockey. I mean, that's what they do. But God, I wish they would put more effort into baseball. They get more people asking them about to play baseball, this and that, and the way I look at it is they both have a lot of talent in baseball. I believe they are both better baseball players than hockey players, but I'm not going to deter them from their passion by any stretch. But I also believe there's not a lot of options for hockey. There is a million options for baseball. I don't think a 7-year-old kid needs to be on a travel team, or a club team paying high fees for, I mean, he's 7. He's not going to the major leagues tomorrow, There's not a lot, like I say, but there's not a lot of options for hockey. There's only, at this age, 2 travel teams in the entire Kansas City area. I mean, there's, my kid played in St. Louis this weekend. They played against Kirkwood. They have 7 just in Kirkwood, the city of Kirkwood. You know what I mean? Kansas City has 2 in all of Kansas City. But I keep them like in the summertime they'll still play a little hockey here and there, but in the wintertime they're still at the cages or whatever, doing practicing with their teams. And right now we're trying to figure out where Breck's going to go. He wants to start moving up. He wants to start playing in the AA or AAA, and he's been asked by many of teams to do it, but he's just kind of want to stay back and play with his friends. And I think now no, I want to do it. And I said, well, if we're going to do it, some things are going to have to go by the wayside. Daddy can't afford 2 travel hockey kids and then baseball.
Yeah.
But no, I'm making sure they're staying in, doing a little bit of everything. I know he wants to start playing tackle football this year. So,
nice.
I told him, I said, you can play tackle football, but that's going to interfere with something else too. I'm all about them playing every sport they want to do. I mean, Case wants to start doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I mean, if there's anything that little booger eater is going to be good at, I mean, that might be the one thing that he's going to dominate at. So
Case is going to be putting dudes in Kimuras in no time.
Oh God, yeah. So
what's this? Elbow lock.
Oh yeah. No, he is. He definitely has more energy, and something like that I think would really. I mean, as long as he uses his brain and doesn't kill somebody, but that's also. I think that's something a skill that you might be the dumbest kid in the school, but if you're the toughest, you'll get by.
You will.
Well, absolutely. You could always sit him down and say, look, I know you love hockey, but just look at the contract some of these baseball players make.
Yeah.
Then I'll let you decide which way you want to go.
Yeah. So actually, I told them I wish they start playing pickleball, because this weekend Case played at 7 a.m. Saturday and 7 a.m. Sunday, and I'm pretty sure pickleball games don't start at 7 a.m. So
no,
But now, whatever they want to do, I don't care. If they want to play hockey, if they want to collect Barbie dolls, or if they want to do someone's makeup, or if they want to do boxing, whatever it is, I'll support them and be there for them, and make sure they have fun.
Playing at the pro level in hockey, is it hard for you to bite your tongue per se when it comes to the boys or how they're being coached or anything of that matter?
So I got asked to coach them their first year of travel hockey, and I did. And when it came to the second year, I didn't want to coach. I wanted Breck to learn from somebody else, not a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And, because, dads are always wrong and dads are this. And so I stepped aside, which was fine with me. And then this year we got about a month into the season and it was, will you please come back? Will you please come back? And so I came back aboard a month into the year this year and helped out. And Breck has been very, very receptive to it. He listens and he's good, but I'm actually having fun coaching him this year. I'm the first to admit two things. When I played to what the game is now is not the same game. I mean, I played in the era where there was fighting, it was a lot more rougher. And nowadays it's faster and, the fighting's gone. I'll sit there and go out and watch a Mavericks game with the kids. And I'm like, Godzilla, these guys are fast. It wasn't as fast as this when we played. But then on the flip side of the coin, they never hit anybody. There's no fighting. And I'm like, God, back in my day, this dude would, be losing 3 teeth and, busted nose. And, if they pulled any shit like that, it's a different game. But you can go that with any sport. I mean, the NFL was tougher back in the day. Now it's not as tough and, but it's fast as shit, Yep. So I kind of got off track there with your question. Sorry, but for coach,
no,
but I also,
good.
The other thing is I also know I'm not a great coach to, I can't sit there. If you said to me, hey, Todd, will you teach my 5-year-old how to skate? I'm like, probably not. I mean, because I can do it. I'm not good at reducing it to the ridiculousness to try to teach somebody else. Give me older kids that know what they're doing, and then now it's just an X and O's thing. That's where I'm more beneficial at. But, as for, just taking a bunch of 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds and trying to teach them how to skate and stuff like that, I don't have the patience to sit there and tell them what to do on that thing.
It takes a special breed to coach. It really does.
Oh yeah.
You got to have the patience, and sometimes I've had to learn to tone it down per se because it was a different mentality how I was coached to how you have to approach these kids nowadays, and it's sometimes I bite my tongue a lot.
Oh
and,
yes.
You have to realize that you can't cuss at a 13-year-old boy, 12-year-old boy, like I was cussed at 12 or 13.
Right.
Because times are just different. But yeah, the games are different. I think any sport has changed from, like yourself and myself growing up to how, the kids our sons are playing nowadays. Because it's like football's that way, hockey's that way, baseball's become that way. Basketball, God Lord, these guys are faster, quicker, jump higher, everything else. So, but I tell you what, man, it is nice to I'll be honest, like you said, I don't know much about hockey.
Mm-hmm.
A lot
of the kids that I coach, their parents will come up and they'll be like, hey, my kid played really good today. And I said, no, he was horrible. And he's like, oh, well, I don't know much about hockey. And then they'll come up and they'll go, my kid was horrible. I'm like, dude, your kid was like the best kid on the ice today. So, I mean, you're just in the norm with everybody else, So.
But I always said if like you were coaching and my boy wanted to play and you had a team, I would have to put him in someone's hands I trust to teach him the way. So you would fall into that line. But yeah, I mean, I've watched it. Don't get me wrong. It is fun when the fights were happening, but I can't sit down, turn on the TV and watch a hockey game. It just
I think if you learn the rules, have you ever been to a game live?
I have been to a game live.
And if you knew a little bit of the rules that you could actually understand it, like I can tell you, I've never watched cricket, but I couldn't tell you the first rule about cricket. You know what I mean? But I bet you if I learned the rules a little bit, I'd be like, damn, that motherfucker made a great play. Now I'm just looking at like, why are these guys diving in with, soccer gloves for a pool ball? I mean, I don't know what I'm watching, So, but yeah, it's one of not every sport's for every person. I get it. So,
yeah, believe me, soccer, believe it or not, wasn't my sport of choice at all. Was my cousins. I had some cousins that were real good.
Uh-huh.
Nope. Not me.
Well, I don't know if soccer was any of our three sports. I mean, looking at this camera right now, I mean, I don't think any three of us were built for running.
No,
So,
no.
No, not at all.
I'm
no.
okay with kickball and like standing still, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it was different when we were younger. A little kickball was different.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not chasing no motherfucker with a ball. No, no.
Well,
It's too much.
well, man, it's you know, you did the hockey thing, and and I could be wrong. I, which leads me to, of course, what brings you out this way? What brought you out this way? Other than, I mean, I know you played in Wichita.
Yeah, and that's where I met my ex. And
Okay.
got married, and then worked when we broke up. There was an opening with the Corona Guinness Net in Kansas City, and so I decided to move up here and start over again.
So you were, when you were done with it, that's where I'm leading up to the slow pitch softball side of things.
Oh,
How do you go from hockey to saying, "Oh, this game with this yellow ball coming in underhanded at 5 miles an hour is the sport for me"?
so the it's kind of a funny story on that. So my old brother-in-law played on a. Oh, I know he used to play for RFC back in the day.
Okay.
Back in the
Well,
olden
hold on.
days.
Look, before I kind of go into this, let me ask one question. Did you have any baseball experience prior to this, or was it just all hockey?
Oh no, I played I think for like 6 weeks back home in Canada as a kid. So I played one summer. Yeah, yeah, played one summer.
Okay.
That's all
Uh,
you need to get a pedigree in slow pitch.
Yeah,
uh,
but I will. I'll back the story up. I'm actually the black sheep of my family for playing hockey. My brother played for Team Canada. My dad was actually recruited in the major leagues before he lost his wrist. So we are. I was the black sheep for being the hockey player. My family was all baseball. Um,
really
yep,
nice.
yep. So long story short, back when I was married, my ex brother-in-law one day they were playing in the Cheney Fair tournament, and they were shorthanded. And he's like, "Dude, we need a 10th. Can you come out?" And I said, "Sure." So I got out there. I batted 10th, and they put me at second base. And I think they just figured, well, if the dude can stop a puck, he can stop a ball. And hand to God, if you ever run into my ex brother-in-law, he'll tell you the story word for word. I hit a ball to me at second base. I kicked my foot out like a goalie. I stopped it with the side of my foot. And I picked it up and threw the guy out at first. Now, if any of you guys have known me for a while, that's probably the best defensive play I've ever made on a softball field. So, and I mean, there's no no shame in that. I'm the first to admit that. And so literally, I did that. Everybody laughed, and then I got up to bat like an inning or two later, and I hit it into the fairgrounds on a 300-foot field, and I used an Easton Red Line
Oh
bat,
yeah,
aluminum bat,
oh
and
yeah.
they weren't allowed to hit home runs. And I didn't know. I'm like, well, I don't have bat control. I don't even know what bat control is. Um, and that was my first ever experience with softball, and I loved it. And I ended up hopping on a league team, going out playing 3-4 nights a week every night I
Yeah.
could. And I finished out with an E team, a tournament team, an E team that year, and then played B the year after that, and then just kind of went from there. So, but
Man, and I mean, of course, ended up traveling across the country, playing in some of the biggest events known to slow pitch.
mhm.
But when you got to that level, who was some of your big influences?
Ooh, well, it's weird because some of my biggest influences ended up becoming some of my best friends who
Mm-hmm.
I worked with. And I mean, hockey and softball got me the job with combat,
Uh,
and Hobbs knows, and knows everybody that worked for combat was a player, and everybody played. I was the black sheep being the hockey guy, and I was the lower rung of softball to those guys. I wasn't a Rusty Baumgartner, a Scott Brown, a Johnny McCraw, a Rick Baker. I wasn't them. But I worked with them. I talked to them every day. I traveled the country with them. I took BP with them. You know what I mean? And I got to learn from them. And the nice thing was I got to learn from them while playing against them and working with them. And that's kind of how it just kind of came about. And then, like I said, I was the black sheep because we sold hockey equipment too. So I was the dual threat that, knew a little bit about softball, but knew the hockey side, so I got to travel with them to teach them the hockey side. And then after we'd go see an account on the hockey side, we'd stop on the side of the road and go hit a bag of balls and softballs. And they would, teach me some softball stuff. So, I mean, I kind of, lucked into a lot of things with it, but those are the guys that I look up to. But I not only looked up to them on the softball field, I look up to a lot of them as parents, as fathers, as whatever. I mean, to this day, I know all of us combat guys are still on a group chat. We still talk all the time. Whenever anybody's in town, we always get together. Scott Brown was here not too long ago. We always get together. We try to get together when I'm in Minnesota. If North Carolina ever plays KU in basketball, I know Johnny McCraw's going to text me on something, and talk shit about how the refs blew this for them or whatever. I talked to Mike Dill probably 25 minutes ago. Rick Baker and I, anytime the Chiefs and the Bengals play, I'm guaranteed to get a text on that. I mean, we're the Party in the USA. The first day I ever met Jason Kendrick was back when Party in the USA with Miley Cyrus was popular.
Yes.
And the funny story, it's popular with my kids' hockey team now too. They play it before every game. But Kendo and I, for legitimately probably the last 10 years, no matter where we are in the world, if Party in the USA is on, we stop, we video it somewhere, whether we're in a bar, we're in a restaurant, we're in a car, and, we send it to each other. I mean, I don't know how many times Kendrick got Party in the USA with a bunch of 10-year-old kids singing it in the locker room last year.
Yeah.
I got him from him hitting golf balls off a deck in the ocean in Florida somewhere last year with the song playing. I mean, that's it. We all have our own little niches. We're all still a group and a family, but we all have our own little, with each other that, we stay a family. But by far that crew there was who I looked up to in the softball world.
Well, you working for combat is what kind of introduced you to Hobbsy.
Oh yeah.
So explain how that relationship started kicking off.
Well, back before I could swipe right on that handsome face, it used to just be going up to Just Bats, hanging out with Mr. Hobber. I'd go up there, get my free lunch. Hob and I would BS and just kind of snowballed from there. I think between softball and, wrestling and food, we all just, it just all came from there. I mean, I remember Hobbsy coming up to Minnesota with me for a tournament one year.
Oh, yes. The Dudley.
Got to hang out with the Dudley one year. So unfortunately, Hobbsy's gone off and gotten married and all domesticated. And, now I just have to sit back and read his post about how bad the Lions screwed something up,
man.
But,
well, I was trying to stay away from that.
Well, with Todd, too, it was like, here I was, Dave, and I met you through softball. I obviously met Todd through softball. And it was funny because, here I was, you guys had been in it for a while. And then when I got in there, I think one of the cool things about Just Bats that was awesome for all of us is, when I started and I had, met Todd through that. And then when I got you on there with me, Dave, I think the coolest thing there was where we were at and like what was awesome with having Canuck to help us was like he saw what we wanted to do there. And and without I think to this day, without him backing us up a little bit there and seeing that those guys would come with him and talk to us and not, they didn't really want to, they would be cool with everybody else, but, they'd come hang out with us. And, it helped the videos. It helped us actually get to do the stuff. I know the combat videos were awesome.
Oh God.
Like, those were fucking gold.
The outtakes
were the best
were the
things
best.
ever. Yes, those were, and the outtake was, I thought you were going to say it, dude, those were awesome. And with that, like, it was easy for me because, like, when I first met Todd, I'm like, this guy is neat. And, I was already, and, I was in my full-blown fucking bachelor squirrely as fuck stage. So all I wanted to do was get awesome, hit dingers, and fucking talk about anything that was awesome. And you find someone that'll bullshit with you about all that. You're like, oh yeah. And then
I still go ahead. Sorry.
we get into in it too. The coolest things, like every softball tournament I ever remember that I enjoyed was like, with my little E teams and D teams and C teams or wherever we went. But our throw together teams, when it was either with you, me, Dave, or when I got to play with Canuck and them, Canucks who opened the door to me getting to meet a lot of fucking dudes that got to see that, like, they probably hadn't met a something like me before, to be honest, if you think about it. Like, here's this little short chubby fucker, and half these softball guys are over here tugging on everybody's balls and calling them like by one name and ooh ah, and I'm just like, hey fuckface, can you drink? And I was just, let me drink it, and let's go hit. And and getting to meet all those guys and like stuff. If it wasn't for Canuck there, I wouldn't have met a lot of those guys. And some of those guys to this day are some of my favorite people that I ever met through softball. And yeah, I did get domesticated, but like who I miss the most, obviously, is that man to the right, the man in front of me. That's why we're here now, which is awesome. That was why I'm like, oh yeah, we got to get Todd on here. We got to get. I'm like, you and me and Dave. So it's it's always been cool to have him around, and with the softball shit we've got to do, and like kind of two of the big pillars here. Not to get on that fucking shit, but you two were a big part of my whole softball, like the whole time I ever played it. Like you were two of the biggest parts of it.
Well, I think it was last year you tagged us or shared with the picture of us three at the Christmas party.
Christmas party, just past Christmas party.
Oh man, that was something else.
It's the skinniest the three of us have looked in a long time.
We did look good in that picture.
Good camera angle or what? But
I had a fucking sweater and a collared shirt on.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
oh man.
Yeah.
I had that sweater, mock, turtleneck on. And hey, we were looking pretty sharp that evening.
I remember that night because I fucking drank entirely too much, and I don't know how much All-Star pizza the three of us ate, but it's got to be close to a record.
That's our downfall. That's why we were skinny in that picture. It's that damn All-Star pizza that
demolished that.
I'm gonna go back there and I'm gonna sue them for what they just did to my body.
That's great.
Well, man, like going into the slow pitch world, as you explained what kind of helps you go, let's talk about like what's some of the funnest tournaments you played in at that level.
You know what? Every tournament's fun. The tournament itself isn't what made it the funnest. It's the 13, 14 guys that I went with every weekend. That's what made it the funnest. I mean, dude, Hobbs, we played the turkey tournament with those guys. Is the turkey tournament the Smoky? Not even close. Is the turkey tournament Disney? The Major World Series? Not even close. I had more fun with that stuff than I did, some of those big things. It's who you surround yourself with. And, I got lucky to stay with the team I was with for 10 plus years. There's not a lot of guys that stick with one team for more than 1 year, let alone 10.
Especially in the slow pitch world. Yeah.
100%. And, I can tell you everybody on that extreme team it's been family, and the core, probably 6 of us, 7 of us, granted some guys have drifted off here and there, and did certain things, but we still talk all the time. We still get together once a year. 2 years ago, we all got together for a golf tournament. This past year, we got together for a co-ed tournament at the Fireman's. Biggest fucking mistake ever made. Biggest fucking mistake ever made. If this tells you how old and out of shape we are, this story's hilarious. First inning, first batter, ball hits to a girl. She throws the guy out at first. As she does it, she tears her ACL. Okay?
Oh.
Bottom of the first inning, I get a hit, and I'm just walking first. And as I step on first, I magically did something. Ended up with a torn MCL, third degree, tore my meniscus. I mean, everything done. Didn't play. Guy goes in for me in the top of the second, hits a pop fly. He steps back, falls down, tears his hamstring. We played 1.5 innings, 3 ambulance type situations coming out there. We're all on the bench. We're like, we're not going to have enough to make it to the 4th inning, let alone, the rest of the tournament. So I don't know if our reunions are going to be any more softball related.
Was that Maddie's idea to play in that?
It was. It
Of
was
course.
Maddie's idea. And, Maddie's still small and young and can do some of that stuff. Um, but yeah, I think we're all kind of to that point now of, the game was fun, we're a little out of shape, let's just stick to golf or fishing or, I mean, I'll tell you, I've picked up golf. I mean, what I went for, from 3 nights a day a week playing league or BP, I will gladly trade that for 5 days of golfing nowadays. And golf and softball are a lot alike. The ones that suck at it will tell you how good they are, and they will brag and brag and brag. And I think I mean, golf and softball go hand in hand with
Holy
that
shit,
on
that's
that
funny.
aspect. So,
Well,
but Hobbs, back to your point, I think that's one thing too, is like you were saying, back with the extreme there, we used to call them rubes. The guys that want to run up to you and talk to you and tell you what team they play for and how good they
Right.
are and how they batted on league night and stuff like that. And I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we're all a rube. I mean, if I run into Patrick Mahomes today, I'm going to be a rube and run up to him.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of the time, everybody kind of knows, dude, we softball players, we still go to work on Monday.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we're nobodies. And when somebody runs up to you, I mean, if you were to run up to Patrick Mahomes today, or does the Lions have anybody good? Who was it? Oh, is Stafford still there? No, I'm just.
Oh man.
But you know what I mean. Yeah, but you know what? You're probably going to be turned off. He's probably going to be turned off by you, and
Yeah.
off you went. And and I think that's the way softball. And when I met you guys, it was never like that. It was more of a, hey, you want to drink? You want to have this?
Yeah.
And you just met on a more personal level.
I think I'm happy that you said that, because I think that's what sets you apart from a lot of the guys that played at that level. Because I know a lot of guys felt that guys like yourself sometimes were unapproachable from an ego standpoint. They would think that, not realizing who you were as a person. Like, we got to know each other at a personal level, like you said, outside of softball, which is great. So when we saw each other at the fields, it was, like you said, we joked around.
Yeah.
Like I know, and Hobbs there, like you said, I know every Cinco de Mayo, I'm getting a message or a text from my Canadian buddy wishing me happy birthday.
I don't know why. I mean,
there is.
I'm not getting in trouble on this podcast, but that's between you and me.
You're not. But what I'm saying is there is not a lot of
get the same text.
Not a lot of people you could say have that pass in your life to get away with saying, "Hey man, what the fuck are you thinking? Like that ain't funny."
Right.
But to me and you, we're on, with that jokingly level, man, where, I say, yeah, I may be the border jumper from the South. You're just the border jumper from the North. We're one and the same.
Absolutely. You swung them, I skated across.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I think that's what a lot of it was. And I try to tell these people, just go up and try talking to them.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll tell you what, a kind of a cool story would happen this past summer. And I think a lot of it has to do with the same thing. I mean, if you meet somebody famous and that, I mean, I'm not famous. I'm not famous in any stretch of the imagination. But I've seen people, come up and, they want to talk to you and they want to tell you their story and how good they are or this or that. This summer, I was out at Legends for the Berserk with the MVS charity softball game.
Yep.
And my kids got to go out on the field and shag home run balls. And as I walk out to the outfield, there's two kids, and it's mine too, and Patrick Mahomes playing catch in center field.
Yeah.
And it's like, place is packed with however many thousands of people there. And Mahomes didn't go up to any single person in there. I mean, he would have been surrounded by everything. And there he is in center field playing catch with my two kids. And, I walked up to him, gave him knuckles, said, "Hey, man, I appreciate it. Can we get a picture?" And he took a picture with me and the boys real quick. And then he went back off and he hit, in his little warm-up things and that. But the story is, I didn't rush him, didn't do any of that stuff. Once he hit, he came back out to center field and he walked right to me at the fence. And him and I, for like 4 or 5 minutes, just sat there and had a conversation. We didn't talk about, me doing this in football or, blah, blah, this, then we literally just had a normal one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
Granted, inside I'm going, it's fucking Patrick Mahomes. Like I'm just he's all get out. You know what I mean? That's but
Now,
he just talked to him like a normal person, and you know what? He came back out of his way to come back and hang out with me for a little bit.
That's awesome.
you say that, and I'm glad you kind of say that too, because I swear I've seen some of the pictures you post.
Dude,
You are one of the luckiest men when it comes into running into famous people somewhere with your kids
always.
at the airport. And how many people like I've seen you take pictures with? I'm like, this is one lucky son of a bitch.
Don't mind me coming home from Worlds and sitting next to Braun Strowman at the entire WWE.
Yeah, but there was every other softball guy in there. But it's funny. Everybody says that, you're the luckiest kids in the world. That's not, and you run into this stuff, and it's funny if you think about it, or if somebody ever asked, to the outside of looking at social media and pictures, I could see where people would think that,
Yeah.
But you look at, I guess people don't know like a background of mine, like. Last year, I posted a bunch of pictures. My kids were out on the ice with the Dallas Stars and the St. Louis Blues, and they got all these autograph stuff and this and that. Well, my old coaches Dallas Stars, and we ran into each other.
Awesome.
We ran into each other 3 years ago. So we make it a point now to try to get together once a year, where I bring the kids and go. This year we tried going to Minnesota because my kids, the goalie for Minnesota Wild's their favorite player. He used to play for Vegas. My old coach used to coach Vegas. He's like, hey, let's go to Minnesota then. I'll introduce your kids to, his name's Marc-Andre Fleury. I'll introduce your kids to Fleury. So if I would have posted pictures, everybody would have said, oh my God, your kids are the luckiest kids in the world. But they don't realize that, that's my old coach. We ran into each other. We stay in touch, and once a year we get together. My cousin's a NASCAR driver. So, every time he's in town, we get to go, and my kids, push his car out onto the track, and they walk out on the stage with him and wave to the crowd. But that's my cousin. I mean, this isn't somebody I ran into, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just awesome, my lucky little connections here, there, whatever, of how some of that stuff's happened. So
let me kind of rewind back. I did have one hockey question for you.
Sure.
Do you think, because of course being in Kansas City, we hear a lot with the T-Mobile Center that they would love to have a pro hockey team. Can Kansas City handle a pro hockey team?
100%. I will. Okay. We talked about this. Oh God. I mean, it's been a few years ago, but I mean, this might have been 5-6 years ago. I don't know where you'd find the research or whatever, but back in the day, the T-Mobile Center, Sprint Center used to host one NHL exhibition game a year.
Yeah.
And now it got away from it. Now they do it out at the Mavericks Arena. I was told that hockey game was always the fastest sellout of anything they ever did at T-Mobile Center every year. Every event, that was the fastest sellout. So
did not know that.
Yep. Now, granted, I'm not saying it is now, because obviously they don't do it there now, but back in the day, it was one of if not the fastest. I will tell you, I never once went to a game because I could never get tickets to when they were at the T-Mobile Center. Now I go to Independence, and we go every year that they're out there. One of the reasons is my coach. I was telling you about 2 of the last 3 years he's been here for him. So, we go, but and this year, I think it might be dying down a little bit, but I think it's dying down a little bit because the Chiefs are good. The Royals, they went through their spurt where they were good. Now they're down, and, there's a little hype about them again this year, but the Mavericks used to sell out every game when they first came, I think any team, any sport team that would, be the main tenant there would do well. I mean, maybe this is a little bit biased, but I truly think that it would do better than an NBA game or an NBA team. So
interesting.
We've got a lot of good college basketball in the area,
Yes.
One, and here especially hockey, like one of the things I know, I don't know it, but it always strikes my curiosity. So I try to go to some Maverick games and try to go to anything I can, because it's as a sports fan in general, when you don't know it. I mean, I'm not gonna say that shit about soccer because I don't fucking feel that way. But like with hockey, I always want to be like, man, I want to know what it is, and it's curious, and when you get there, once you see it live, you're like, holy shit, this is awesome. And once you get down on the ice, especially, you're like, whoa, dude, you see how fast they're fucking skating, and when they check people and shit, you're like, oh, dude, this is awesome. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but hell yes.
Hockey, I mean, it's one of those sports. Let's be honest. We might not be the 3 most athletic people in the world, right? But if I threw a basketball to both of you guys, you're probably going to make a jump shot or a free throw. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If I give you a golf club, your swing ain't going to be pretty, maybe, but you're still gonna whack it out there and you'll play 18 holes. Give you a bat, obviously we know what we can do. If I gave you a pair of skates and a stick right now and put you out on the ice, you could I'm not even saying you couldn't compete. Like, you wouldn't even be able to stand up to do things. You know what I mean? Like,
my fat ass can't even stand up on ice skates. Not even a chance. I'll fall right back on my fucking head.
Yep. And I tell everybody that. I say, the one thing, for hockey, even if your kid hates hockey, I know our rink that we play out of here, they run a learn to skate type thing for kids where they supply everything: helmets, sticks, gloves, skates, whatever. And for like 8 Saturdays in a row, they'll go out there for an hour and teach you how to skate. I always recommend getting a kid out there to do it, even if they don't want to play hockey, because you know what? Eventually that kid's going to be 18 and he's going to want to take out, Jennifer from high school that he might want to, make out her finger blast under the bleachers. And he's going to take her down to Crown Center and take her skating. And if he knows how to skate, it'll look good. You teach them young because a kid's not afraid to fall.
Right.
But it's something that, I know it sounds dumb, but if your wife said, hey, let's go to Crown Center and go skating,
hell
no. But you teach a kid out there, and it's almost like riding a bike, and he'll go, public skate every once in a while, or like I say, once a year, go down to Crown Center and do it at Christmas time or whatever. I mean, it's a skill that, it might not lead to anything, but it's, you know what to do on it,
Right.
And, so.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I know, hockey player, slow pitch player, one thing that all 3 of us share in common on top of the slow pitch world is we are all wrestling kind of geeks.
Oh yeah. That's what keeps
as
my
keep
eyes
popping
keep going.
up.
I'm watching Raw going.
Well, see, I got it recorded. I'll just go up after this.
Yep.
Yeah, it's on commercial over here.
I keep throwing my eyes keep going. I'm listening to you guys and I keep going. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
So, what are your thoughts on the Rumble?
Well, we had a group chat going, and
we did.
I'll tell you what. So this killed me because Case had a 7 a.m. game Saturday and Sunday, and he sat down and he watched the Rumble with me. And I looked at my watch. I'm like, bud, it's 10:15. I mean, you're getting up at 5:30. So as Cody Rhodes made his entrance, we paused it and we went to bed. And I woke up the next morning. I'm like, fuck, don't look at anything. And I saw I had the bubble on the messengers. And I didn't look because I knew it was you guys. And I'm like, I can't look. And so I got him to hockey, and we sat down and watched us. I didn't log into anything social media that morning, because I knew I wanted to watch it. I wanted to be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm a wrestling fan. I mean, I don't care who knows it. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
I'm the same way.
I'm not a diehard. You know what I mean? Like, I used to be into it all the time. Now I watch it sporadically. Social media keeps me up to date on who's doing what, who's doing this. But the Royal Rumble is the one, event every year I watch. Every year I watch. And, our little chat, the women's side was predictable. I did like the fact that there wasn't any predictable winner on the men's side. I mean, when I say that, there was legit 2 to 3 options, not
I agree with you.
one,
Yeah.
But I always love the surprises,
You called it too, so I guess the nerd in me couldn't leave it alone. I had to do a little homework to see where the fuck Lesnar was. And then you
Oh, you
called.
didn't know
Yeah,
when I said that to
You
you?
did
no,
not know about that.
I didn't know what the hell was going. Like, I'm like, wait, what the hell's Lesnar got to do with this? And then I
Well,
read it all, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
my
okay, Braun
my
Strowman showed up. I'm like,
understanding,
or not Braun Strowman, but Braun Breaker.
Yep.
Braun
He
Breaker,
took Brock Lesnar's spot.
he
Yep.
took
And I'm
and
like,
he
oh,
eliminated the people
yeah,
that Brock was supposed to eliminate, and then he
yeah,
was eliminated by the person
yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Brock was
like,
supposed to be
okay, this makes
eliminated by.
sense now.
Yeah.
So since we're telling stories here, I gotta tell you a cool one, kind of how I got into wrestling, and I want to hear how you guys got into it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was always a fan. I mean, I watched the Saturday Night Main Event and the Hulk Hogan as a kid. I
Yeah.
mean, I got to sit 4 rows from the ring at WrestleMania 6 when Old Warrior beat Hogan. You know, one of
Man.
the kids I played hockey with, his dad was a bigwig for Channel 11 back home in Canada, and Channel 11 broadcast wrestling. And he had 4 tickets, and not only was my teammate, but he was also lived like 3 doors down, and he asked me to go. And so I still to
Nice.
this day somewhere have my program from that. But
Nice.
yep,
Amazing.
I was 4 rows from the ring in that one. But back in the day when I was playing professional hockey, I was playing for Tulsa at the time, and WCW came to town. I never watched WCW. WCW wasn't on TV back home in Canada. It was all WWF. And they were there for some house show, and I want to say it was 2 or 3 days. Am I boring you, Hobbs?
No,
Stay away.
shit, no, I'm old.
So we pulled into town for training camp, and I want to say our training camp started on Monday, and Saturday they were there for some house show or whatever. And so I went in, one of the rookie kids came in, and so I took him down to the, and WCW was setting up for their house show, and went through the back door where we always go, like the players' entrance. And some security guy stops us, and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys here for?" I said, "Oh, we're the hockey team. I'm just young rookie kid. He's just putting his stuff in the locker room." "Oh, you guys are the hockey team? Oh man, come on in." And so we go into the back. And I didn't watch. Were you guys big WCW guys at all?
I'm not out of the two. I mean, I watched it. I'd follow it until because they usually came on an hour earlier
Gotcha.
before then WWF would start their programming. So I'd always kind of watch it and then flip channels.
Mine was Stinger, when Stinger and Dungeon of Doom came. The Dungeon of Doom and Stinger.
Yeah.
Like the first spin the wheel, make a deal, Halloween Havoc. I remember those. Yeah. That's when I started watching it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So do you remember Doug Dellinger?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Doug Dellinger, that was the security guy that let us in. And he was, So we come back and he starts telling us, he goes, "Dude, I'm such a big hockey fan." So he lives in Charlotte, and he had season ticket to the Charlotte Checkers, who to this day still play against the Mavericks and stuff. And he's like, "Dude, I'm such a hockey fan, this and that, da 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 da." And I'm like, "Okay, this is cool, And so we're back there, we're putting our stuff in the locker room, and wrestlers are coming by, chatting to us. I mean, they're normal people. A lot of them are Canadian, you know what I mean? And so they're hockey guys or whatever, and we talk. And so I said to him, "Hey, can we go out in the ring?" He goes, "Fuck yeah, go on out there." This is like 2:00 in the afternoon. And so his name was Mike Moore. Me and Moorsey run out to the ring, we're running around, running the ropes, goofing around. And next thing you know, guess who comes out? Fucking Bill Goldberg. And Goldberg gave us about a 10-minute tutorial on wrestling moves and stuff. Super good dude. He's from Tulsa. And I'll never forget. So he goes, "All right, bend your knees and hold the second rope." So we're holding the second rope. We bend our knees, and he goes, "Now fall backwards." We fell backwards, and I swear to God, I felt like somebody kicked me in the head. My head rattled, and like almost concussion type. And all I did was just fall backwards. And he goes, "That hurt?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right, now do it again. But as you land, smack your arms on the mat." And so we did it again, and bam, we smack our arms. And he goes, "That hurt?" I said, "No." He goes, "It disperses your energy." So he gave us literally he showed us how to run the rope, a couple of things. And I was like, dude, I just learned a whole new appreciation for this. Whole new appreciation. And so anyways, the house show starts, and he's like, "Dude, come on back out." He goes, "It's sold out, but we'll hook you guys up." And so when they came out of the curtain, they put seats in the aisleway, but away from the other people. And we just sat there and got to watch the show. And, like in addition, we went back to the locker room, and I'll never forget, I had probably a 10, 15-minute conversation with a wrestler. And we talked forever about back home in Canada, this and that. And weird memory, but it was Chris Benoit. And it's weird that's the one memory I have of me and him. He didn't give me any parenting advice. It was just, just wrestling and talking about Canada and stuff like that. So,
holy shit.
Oh, boy. Well, with it, we just went to a whole different level.
No. But no, it's honestly, that's my one, because he was, and that's what shocked me than anything, because when I met him, dude, he was such a good dude. And I mean, literally, we just sat there for 10 minutes just talking about Canada, stuff like that, and, but that's my one memory. But that's when I became a real fan, because I got to go in there and, realize what they actually go through and the little tricks they do here and there. And, I think a lot more people, kind of like I say, a hockey game, if you went to go on the ice and see, you'd appreciate it. If a lot of guys that say, oh, it's all fake and got to this, if they actually got to go in there and do a little bit of that running around, you'd be like, oh shit, this is isn't easy.
Well, I mean, my story is not as fancy as yours, but I started young. My grandfather was a big wrestling fanatic, and being from Kansas City, which a lot of people don't realize has a huge wrestling background, I guess, within the city.
Harley Race.
Yes, Harley Race, the Ortons, those guys. I remember watching NWA, the wrestling that would come on, Saturday, the Saturday thing with WWE, kind of the beginning of WCW and all that stuff. I went to grade school with a young lady whose dad was also a professional wrestler. So when he would show up to the school functions, it was a big deal. So one of I remember going to Municipal Auditorium and seeing some house shows and stuff like that. Harley Races, still to this day, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. So that's kind of how I started, just kind of been, a geek through it all since a young kid, and have passed it along now. And, my boy is big into it, and we watch it like you. I love watching the Rumble. I still like, some of the pay-per-views. I watch mainly WWE. I don't, every once in a while, glance over at AEW. Not big on that, but, I've just kind of grown up with the appreciation for it. Love it. Know it's fake, but it's still fun. It's still fun to watch.
Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire's fake.
Yep.
No good
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's how everybody says that shit's fake. Yeah. So's every movie you sit and watch. So's every TV show you sit and watch. So's everything you sit and binge watch. You know what I mean? So what? I mean, I don't like Young and the Restless. I don't make fun of soap operas.
Right.
That's true.
So,
how'd you get?
I honestly, I can't remember the first part. Moment. I would assume, knowing me, that when I was little, that my mom probably was like, this little bastard's an asshole, and probably just turned it on. Because the first guys I remember was the Hulkster, obviously, and I used to hit my flex and say my prayers and eat my vitamins in the mirror, and then of course, then Ultimate Warrior was my dude. So I remember.
No.
I remember if I could get a hold of something and fucking shake it like the ropes, I was all over it. And any little dude around me, if I got a chance, was getting the gorilla press and the fucking big body drop. I didn't care who it was; they were getting splashed. So totally got into it. Then I loved, obviously all that Hulkster, the Warrior. I loved Bret Hart. Always loved Bret Hart. Hated Shawn Michaels. Was one of the one guys that fucking hated Shawn Michaels. I thought Razor Ramon and Diesel were the greatest things since sliced bread. Back then, I loved them. That's, I remember all that. Papa Shango to me back then, I remember being fascinated by Papa Shango. I thought he was the greatest thing ever. But I never quit. Like it was a part of me that never went away. Like I would go away from it from a while,
Yeah,
and then I
and
would come
come
back.
back to
So
it.
like, and then my senior year of high school and stuff is like when the war was going on. So like, I had my whole high school was the Monday Night War, so I got all of it. So
Yeah,
Goldberg was in
yeah,
his streak still. Like Nash, the NWO was huge.
yeah,
The Wolfpack had came
yeah,
out, and then I had peak Austin and peak fucking Rock. So I had like
yeah.
DX. I was just in it. So all of that, man. Like I feel like my growing up, it was such a huge part of my life because you think about it. I didn't give a shit if everyone told me it was fake or not. At that point, they were getting the fucking DX suck it, and I had two words for you everywhere I went. Everywhere to this day, at 40 years old, anytime I hear any kind of somebody quoting the Bible or scripture, I even to this day, you can ask my old lady, she laughs. I'm like, is Austin 3:16 in there anywhere?
Oh,
And I'm like, because if it's not, then fuck you.
yep.
But and then I went, you go away from it. It's funny, and then like as softball got going, I started chatting with you guys. I was like chatting with other people that were like, I'm like, wait, okay, so let me get this straight. We play underhand slow pitch softball in tournaments
Yeah.
on Saturdays,
Hey, people
and we
believe that
watch
sport is real.
exactly, and we watch grown men wrestle. Fake.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, we do. And
Yeah.
dude, and
Well,
it never went away, man. Because now, some of
Well,
everybody's kid's a wrestler. When it comes to this, now you
yeah.
see like Cody Rhodes and The Rock,
I
Roman Reigns.
do
There's hardly
have
nothing like it.
I do have an odd wrestling story.
Oh yeah.
I was actually at Camp Arena when Owen Hart fell from the rafters,
mhm.
and remember it clear as day, still to this day. Where our seats were kind of angled where the entryway was, sitting there at the pay-per-view, and you see the rafters in Old Camp Arena, you can see the people up in there. And then, he's supposed to zip line down. And then, you sit there, you kind of see it, watch it happening. Because as we all three of us been to live events. I mean,
Oh.
we don't have the joys of the commercial. So we're, when that time is on, you're just looking around and it saw him coming down. And then like, oh crap, this guy's coming down a little faster than normal. And then I remember hearing his head hit the turnbuckle and then him hitting the mat twice. And then going, that wasn't right. And then next thing you know, you saw everybody come rushing out to the ring. And of course, as fans, we didn't know until after, which is crazy because I heard that it was announced, over the air that he had passed away. Well, when you were there, we didn't hear about it until the following day on Raw. So, yeah, that is my oddest wrestling story of being somewhere live. But
Speaking of live, my two favorite live events just so happen to be with both of you two. So Canuck probably remembers this. So we're front row, Monday Night Raw. Todd got us, of course, having connects. Todd got us down on the front row. I get a text message. Of course, at that time too, straight dispatch, just combat, fuck combat head to toe. Combat hats on. I think we had the shirts on. We're in the front row, and I don't know if you remember when John Cena smacked my fucking hand.
Yep.
But he John Cena about broke my fucking hand off my body. High fiving me. But we were sitting down there, and I always remember that because it was front row there, and Hulkster and John Cena did a flex off at the end.
Yep.
And it's when Ambrose was like in that fucking weird Ambrose the Shield and Bump stage.
Yeah.
And Orton was there and stuff. I'll never forget that. And then you and me, that was the when we went to that was the first time Cass and Big Cass and fucking what's his name were?
Enzo.
Yeah,
and me went, and that's the last time we ever went anywhere with Cass that I can remember like out and about like that. But if Enzo and Big Cass and that I remember that because you and me were there, and then that fucking Braun Strowman came out, and I'm like, look at the fucking size of this human being. I'm like,
he was the one that gave it.
God's name.
Yeah, he's the one that gave us the tickets.
Yeah.
Well, what was your take? What did you like seeing about the Rumble?
Honestly, I like the surprises. I do my best to not read up on who they are. You know what I mean? I don't want to know. I want to be surprised like everybody else. there was not really any surprises on the men's side. I'll be honest with you, I could have given a flying fuck about the other two matches in between. I mean, I really wanted to watch just the Rumbles, you know. I didn't think the women's match was good at all. I mean, I go back, obviously, our text messages back and forth. You know what I
Fucking
mean?
Botchamania.
Yeah.
I,
Oh,
th-
Fucking Botchamania.
I thought it got when it got down to the last about 4 or 5 females. I thought it started to. You started getting the women who could actually wrestle.
They could have
Yes.
started it right then and been fine.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, been fine.
Just let them wrestle for an
cool
hour.
seeing. Yeah, it was cool seeing Jordan Grace. I mean, those are the ones I like because I mean, never in a million years would we have guessed that.
Oh no.
You know, you could have given
No.
a list of
Yeah.
100 people, we would never have
Yeah.
picked that.
Oh no.
Yeah, you know, I wish the men would have had something a little like this. I'll tell you, like my man crush in the world is Pat McAfee. I love the dude. I mean, you want to talk about the most athletic, you know, talking smack, talking shit, gambling, fucking drinking, chugging motherfucker. I mean, that's the dude. I didn't like his spot though.
No, he
I
was,
didn't like his spot.
they had him weird. It was just the weird they had the way they had it, and then having him walk out of the ring. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, I get what he was doing. He was trying to sell that these two guys are beasts, and there's no
Yeah.
way I'm getting in there. But I think it could have been a good time for somebody else to do something.
It makes you wonder with with Lesnar not being able to come out, you lose the pop there. You know, you lose any kind of whatever they could have been setting up, and then not to spoil tonight for anybody, but now Punk's out.
Yeah, I heard that.
So now you're fuck. I don't know what they're trying to do here.
I read that earlier about Punk.
Yeah. So now you got that angle's out. So I think you know, and then with Vince's shit coming up, I wonder. It makes me wonder if some of the Rumble they kind of improv there, but then
lost.
Like you, the in between the championship match was just. I mean, you could have done without it.
My take, the women's like we were texting them, we were all shooting messages back and forth. It was sloppy until the last.
Jade
I
Cargill,
though. I think Jordan Gray, seeing her was an absolute surprise. My God, she's an absolute beast.
Oh God,
yeah. I mean, I think you saw. I like some of the younger NXT girls showing up. I'm glad they didn't have, much of the old divas or any of them show up. I was kind of happy with that.
Every once in a while,
other than I would have liked to seen AJ or, like I said, because of who the husbands were.
I'm never upset when Trish comes out either.
Oh God!
Been another surprise to see Nikki James come out, just because of who her husband is.
I texted you guys. I had 3 scenarios played out. I was really hoping 2 and 3 came out. You know,
big fan of that. Big fan of that myself.
Like I saw today, the reason why they think they put Naomi out where they put her out is so she could get that pop from the crowd.
Yeah.
And get her full entrance, which I agree with.
100%.
As far as the ones in between, I hated the whole way the KO and dipshit ended their match. That irritated me. The whole that 4-way match. I was kind of hoping for is okay. Now that match is over. Like maybe Randy Orton popping back up in the Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody coming from that to that. Yeah, that was kind of
come from that. And the whole instead we get Omos. No. Come on. Pat McAfee climbing in and climbing out.
Yeah.
I would prefer to see like Randy come. But like you said, I think it was you didn't know you had an idea who was going to be there at the end.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to come down to giving Cody back to back. So
it could have went both ways, and I thought they were hyping up the back-to-back too much.
Yeah.
Try to spin you another way.
Yeah.
But they were really just leaving it right there in your face for you.
Go ahead. You're good.
I dig the Cody backstory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really do. I think that's and it's funny because it really only has one way to end positively, and everybody would have thought it would have happened last year, and it didn't. And if it doesn't happen this year, then you can't go 3 in a row. But sometimes the better story is him not doing it, and he'll be remembered as the guy that fell short.
Right.
Yeah.
Try. I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, it's just pure entertainment. Not every movie's got a happy ending.
You're gonna have, and I still think you got Priest and his Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Still, they haven't
Not
done
a
anything
fan.
with that, but they're still hanging with it.
R-Truth spot, hilarious.
Oh, he's the best.
Love it.
That was great.
Love it.
That was great.
I loved having Jimmy and Jay started off.
That was awesome.
But then they never did anything after
Yeah,
that.
they
As
just
soon
put it
as the
in
number
each
3 guy came in, like they never touched each other.
I will say, but what I love the most is Jimmy's. How he's playing everybody the no yeet and trying to slap hands with everybody and all that. Every time they took down Jay, that whole angle with Bobby Lashley. Okay, I was hoping Bobby would be one of the ones near the end.
Yeah.
I still think there's some road for Gunter.
I like him.
Oh yeah.
I love him. He's become one of my favorites.
He's working himself into like top heel status.
Yep.
Yes, very much so.
You know who I can't get behind? I don't, no matter how much you try, I can't get behind that LA Knight.
No?
He grew on me. He grew on me.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny. I like his when he does that stuff. But I think it's his whole attire. Like Orton comes out in a t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like he tries to come out like he's in 1996. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, I think if he came out with just a t-shirt on and it's like this whole, it's like a flashy Stone Cold with flair. Yeah. I mean, it's like Stone Cold meets Hamburger Mary. I don't know what the heck it is. He comes out with.
I don't know. I just sunglasses.
Yeah, I can't
hate sunglasses.
I can't get behind him.
Let me ask you this. I mean, you can't talk wrestling. Who would be your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers?
That's what I was about to ask.
I mean, I got to put the Hulkster up there. That was my kid. You got to put Stone Cold up there because this is mine, and this is what the Mount Rushmore.
That's what I say. Yours.
Yes. I mean, they might not have been the greatest of all time, but the ones I love, like I said, definitely Hogan, definitely Stone Cold, definitely Rock. And do I get 1 or 2 more spots? I mean,
4, but we'll give you 4, then give me a.
So Hogan, Stone Cold, Rock,
honorable mention.
Well, no, that's Stone Cold, Hogan, Stone Cold, Rock, and the 4th. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to sit and think. I mean, you could put the Dead Man in there. Undertaker, not like what you said on our text chat there, Dave, but so, so no, I said the 4th, it could be a rotating spot. I mean, I don't know. God, I mean, I'd have to give the edge to the Taker right now. How about you?
Go ahead.
Rock, Stone Cold, Sting.
Hornswoggle for sentimental reason.
God, Hornswoggle's so badass.
That's all right. I'm waiting for Dave to have the LWO up there for 3 of his spots.
Oh man, those 3, and then that 4th one, it could be. See, because I don't care how they wrestled. I liked them on the mics.
I like Angle.
If Razor Ramon's got to be one of mine. Scott Hall. Scott Hall was fucking the most underrated dude on the mic ever.
Oh, he was very very underrated.
I fucking love it.
So. Ric Flair.
Woo.
Stone Cold. And then I'm kind of the same boat. Like that one could be so back. Honestly, because of his mic work, I have to say The Rock. It's funny because I think a lot of times his mic work was 1,000 times better than his wrestling. Mm-hmm. Like a people's elbow. Okay. And then I always say Andre the Giant.
There you go. Yeah.
That's a good
one.
Just
because he was just the guy kind of changed the game in wrestling. Yeah. I mean, but man, I mean, he was one of my favorites growing up, Andre the Giant.
Oh yeah, no, I
And
can see that.
yeah, so just I think Ric Flair's his presence on the mic sometimes goes under the radar compared to because of what he did in the ring.
Mhm.
And he was an absolute genius on the microphone. I think just Stone Cold because his overall work, and he was the Attitude
Genius.
Era.
Yep.
He was just absolute genius. I mean, it was unreal. But here is my question for you two: is I kind of saw this debate. Who is the better of the managers that you see now? Paul Heyman or Bobby the Brain Heenan?
Bobby the Brain all day, every day, Weasel. I mean, dude, Heyman comes out with one guy. The Weasel came out with like 7 or 8. I
Yeah,
mean,
he did.
yeah, I mean, that's an old school. I mean, everybody has it, but I mean, you got to go Heyman, man.
He's not wrong. You can't. Bobby the Brain was like everybody's manager.
Yes,
Like he had like everybody. Well,
Everybody.
fucking that's like Jimmy Hart had everybody.
Yeah.
I'm like these two. You know, Heyman's guy. He's a Heyman guy. Okay, so when Roman hangs it up for a little bit, Punk sticks around. You know, goddamn well he'll go right back and be with Punk, or he'll go. You know what Heyman's gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll stick him with one of the new guys. It'll be a Braun guy, like Braun Breaker, or fucking go with him. Or Heyman's always gonna have his one guy, and he's gonna do the same spin. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great, but Bobby the Brain was way better. And plus, Bobby the Brain then got his announcing skills were awesome.
Oh, I love it.
I love Bobby the Brain when he used to announce too. He was great.
So cool story here. We all picked Stone Cold, right?
Uh-huh.
And I got to talk to Stone Cold. Oh God, it's probably been about 8-10 years ago. And I got to ask him one question. And I asked him, I said, I don't know what made me think of it, but to me, I want to know. I go, at what point in your career did you know you made it and you were the shit? You know,
Nice.
I forget how I phrased it. And he said, I never forget, he goes, the moment I walked out on the stage for the Hall of Fame and I saw everybody stand up and clap for me. And he goes, that was the first time in my life I ever sat back and I looked around and I went, holy shit, I did this, you know? But it was kind of a cool. I mean, that was the question I got to ask him. That was his response.
Awesome.
So I'll never forget that.
Man, that dude.
Well,
Pops that dude would get.
Oh, insane. Road Warrior Pop.
What?
oh,
I could do without ever hearing that again, though.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
That was the one. I'm like, stop it.
Yes.
see, and that's the part I loved. Was hearing how people would get behind it.
Well, and it's funny,
Just,
like,
what?
have you noticed? Like, I'll never understand it because you never. I think it's because he kind of wrestled like shit the whole time, but you never hear anybody say Cena. He's never any of the analysts. You know what? Nothing.
He's not even in my top 5.
No,
he's not.
And he would be for me. I mean,
his career is going to go down as one of the best transitions into acting. And
well, I think it's because he's still in there. You know.
Yeah.
Ask again in 10 years. 5 years. I mean, dude, I think the dude's a hilarious actor now.
Oh, dude, that advertisement for that new movie coming out called Ricky Stenicki.
Ricky Stenicki?
Oh, God.
I told my girlfriend, I said, I don't know when it comes out, but I'm going to see it.
Oh, man. He looks like he's just like, fuck it, I'm all in.
Yes.
I love Cena, the actor.
Yes, I love it.
Well,
I love it.
And it's funny, like, so all of my Mount Rushmore, and the guy that Dave mentioned that's dead now, like, was my current favorite wrestler. Like, he'd never be Mount Rushmore, but like the last 5 years, that's who I fucking was totally all about. I love Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Bray Wyatt, yeah.
Dude, gimmick was great.
That mind, the creativity there was fucking something that was so much needed at the time when it came.
Yep.
And it was so awesome because especially with Undertaker calling it quits, like you're like, man, this is gonna suck. There's no element, nothing like that. And then when Bray came out, you're like, them and the Wyatt family shit. I'm like, how fucking cool is this?
Yeah.
So that brought me right back. I was glued to Bray Wyatt television.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Some of the careers that we saw, I always I would love to see the kind of pop Eddie Guerrero would get right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
If he was still around, he
There's this
was.
dick face kid.
Yeah.
He is, like I said, he's one of my top 5 all-time favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
If you go in ring and not the shit that happened in outside, Chris Benoit to me was top
He was,
5 easily,
he was a bad dude.
and he was one of the favorite ones I love to watch wrestling. It just
And he was the most intense dude ever.
yeah,
Yep.
crazy. But man, I tell you what, it's been fun catching up with you.
Oh yeah. Are
Man,
you guys going to be at the Hall of Fame here in a couple weeks?
No.
No. All right.
Well, hold on. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. No,
You're
that's
in-
not what I was asking. I was just
I
asking. I
didn't
hope
even
to
know
see
you
you
were
guys.
going in.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I shot you as I said so to you. Say congratulations.
What is it?
That you, yes,
Couple
he
weeks.
is in. Yeah.
Well,
Couple
shit, I
weeks.
might have to see if I
unfortunately,
can pull that off.
What's
yeah.
that?
I might have to see if I can pull that off. I had no idea you were going in.
I didn't
He
know I could
is.
pull it off either.
Oh shit!
So-
Like
No.
when I did,
I apologize because I actually had that in my brain to say something to you while we
Oh.
were on.
Well, fuck
That,
congratulations.
Thank you.
yeah, man. You and who else?
Primo. I don't know if you guys know.
Primo.
Jake
Yeah,
Graves.
Primo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hump.
Huh. That was the
Yeah.
other one.
Oh, Hump's
Yeah.
going too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
And then Big Daddy Jeff Smith.
Oh,
yep.
what?
And
Jesus,
then
what?
Yeah.
Kevin and KB, Kevin Bazat. So
Well, that's a pretty fucking good class there. That's pretty good.
So, which makes me go, now we're getting to that time in our lives where our buddies that we saw or we shared on the time on the playing fields are going into these Hall of Fames. But man, like it or not, you deserved it. You did a lot for the game in this area. You really did.
I'm just shocked they're naming the defensive wing after me. I mean, I didn't see that coming.
I saw you play some stellar first base one time.
God, you were drinking.
Well, I might have been drinking.
Yeah.
Hey, I played league with the guy. The guy was playing outfield, diving for balls.
No, I fell.
Well, I was trying to make it seem like
no. Maybe I should be an actor, dude. No, I'll be honest. It's an honor. It's cool. You know what I mean? I haven't said. I mean, I didn't blast it on social media or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because I think there's a bazillion other deserving people out there. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it is cool to be recognized for something like that. You know, kudos. I'll give the shout out to little man Breck. He's actually in St. Louis at a hockey tournament that weekend. And I gave him the option. I said, hey, bud, you know you got a tournament. You don't want to miss it. I said, I'll make arrangements. You can drive up with somebody else. And then on Sunday, I'll be there for you. And that. And he goes, Dad, I'll play 1 million hockey tournaments, but you're only going to go into one Hall of Fame. He goes, I can miss one day. I'm like, oh, little fucker, here's my wallet. Buy what you want. You know what I mean? Like
right.
that right there is what makes you a Hall of Fame in life,
right there,
my friend.
that's awesome.
No,
that right there.
That was awesome. That's touching. So we'll have fun. We'll have fun in a couple weeks of that night, and then bust our ass up to St. Louis bright and early that morning. I just hope he doesn't have like an 8 a.m. game or something. I'm hoping for like a 10 or 11, but with my luck, it's going to be like 7:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. So
hey,
when you beat Jose Canseco in the Dinger Derby, what did Breck think of that?
He's too young. He doesn't even know. I mean, dude, Jose's been to our house and had dinner with us. You know what I mean? And Jose Canseco sat in my front yard and played catch with Breck and threw him a plastic ball off a plastic bat, did all this. And you asked Breck who he is. He's like, he's the guy that had the ball off his head.
I wondered if you ever broke it down and been like,
well,
then he remembers what matters.
Yeah, but Breck doesn't know him. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I still talk to Jose to this day. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, man, we appreciate you coming on and appreciate sharing some hockey stories with us. Of course, the wrestling with us, man. And then, of course, congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yes.
I knew about it because when I saw it, I reached out to him and congratulated with him. and you being as humble as you are, just like, no big deal. Which,
Yeah.
like it or not, it is a big deal.
Hell yeah, it is. I'm so disconnected. I had no fucking idea. I'm pumped.
Well, and I will tell you why is because I had Kay on one of the shows, and she had told me who was on. So when of course, I said Canuck.
Hell yeah!
I was like, man, I didn't know this was a hockey Hall of Fame.
Well, it's funny. The problem is it said my first and it said my real name. Let's be honest.
Not a lot of people do that.
People don't even know who my real name is.
Well, when she said Todd Newton, I was like, Canuck? Canuck. Yeah. Oh, you tripped us hockey now? Oh man, I didn't know that.
Dude, my girlfriend to this day still hates it. Like, we'll get in the car and she'll be like, "Oh, I hate when people call you Canuck," because she doesn't know me as that. You know what I mean? Like, so she, she's getting used to it now, but she can't get her. She doesn't come to grips with that yet. I'm like, dude, most people don't even know my real name. So
I always told everybody, like I had a couple guys who played like league ball with me and shit, and they would always want to be like a softball guy. And I would give one of them, I'm not going to say his name, but I would give one of him a hard time because he always told me, if I make it in slow pitch softball, somebody will call me by one name. And I'm like, give me an example. And he goes, your buddy Canuck. And he's like, or Izzy. And he goes, does anybody know your first fucking name? And I'm like, nope. And they're like, nope. Big Dave's Big Dave. Hudson's Hudson. And he's like, nobody knows their first name ever. And I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, that's when you know. And I always laugh about that because I was like, because I remember the first time, before I ever met you, I'm like, who in the fuck is Canuck?
Yeah.
What
is a Canuck?
And then Hump, I'm like, who's Hump? And who's Big Daddy? So that's too funny because all those nicknames just crack my shit up.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, every sport, everybody's got a nickname. You know what I mean?
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So.
But, Matt, you want to leave us with anything? Any comments?
Who's winning this?
I love it, dude. I go to 4 or 5 Chiefs games a year. I fucking love it. I'll be honest with you, I'm not putting a lot of faith in this one, but I've said that for the last 3 weeks, and they keep surprising me. So
they're running the gauntlet, man. They're doing it the hard way.
I'll tell you what. Right up there, can you see that?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Last year, I caught a game ball at the home opener. Got it out of the stadium. And a buddy of mine actually got Mahomes to sign it a few weeks ago. So now I got me a game-used ball with Mahomes' autograph on there. Cool. So hopefully that's got lucky with that one. Hopefully I get lucky one more time we pull out a win this year.
Well, man, you keep doing what you're doing, man. Doing an awesome job with those boys. Do not think it doesn't go unnoticed. Again, congratulations on the Hall of Fame. Congratulations on life, my friend, because seeing you happy with a good woman, that deserves a lot, my friend.
Well, tell you what, too. I mean, I never would have thought the day that I'd see either you two guys domesticating that now.
Fuck you, dude. Hey, man, you might not know it, but you literally wrote the book on how I dad.
Oh, well, it's a short book. I'm glad.
Trust me, it doesn't seem like it, but I took a lot of notes.
Yeah, well, mine is one says, it just says, be kind and don't beat the shit out of them when you want to.
Luckily, I didn't realize the 2 daughters were going to come in the mix, and I'm like, holy shit, is this different?
Now, that would have been a test for me. I got lucky with 2 boys, so, but no, dude, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad to be on this podcast, but I'm even happier to call you guys buddies and friends, man. So
yes, sir.
I really appreciate it. And let's do this again sometime. It doesn't have to be on the podcast. It could just be out at a bar or something.
Most definitely.
I like the casino too.
Never been.
Well, never been either, but we can try it sometime.
Let's definitely do this outside of this, man. Again and again, man. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you sharing your stories, man, and wish you the best in whatever else you're doing in life, my friend.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys. Love you both, and take care.
Yep.
Love you, buddy.
Yep.
See you guys.